moment we're born, we are on a journey, not just of age, but of spiritual growth. But how can we measure our progress on this path? What does it mean to be spiritually mature? While this journey is uniquely individual, there are common attributes that spiritually mature people share. Here are 5 powerful signs that you're a spiritually mature person. You no longer judge others as much. In the early stages of my spiritual quest, I often saw people seem caught up in things that I thought were unimportant or even silly. Why would a mum be so worried about her kids' grades when there is so much more to life? Why did couples argue over little things, missing the bigger picture of love and connection? It felt like they were missing out on what really mattered. But as I walked further down my spiritual path, I began to understand that it's not my place to judge other people's lives. Let's talk about this transformation, because it's more than just a change. It's a milestone on your spiritual journey. When you start to let go of judging others, you begin to appreciate the complexities of other people's lives, seeing their struggles and joys as part of their unique journey, just like yours. This shift is more than just playing nice. It's a profound realization that we're all in this together, each of us working through our own challenges and growing at our own pace. You come to understand that enlightenment isn't a badge that says, "I'm better than you." It's a light that you carry within you, and like any light, its main job is to illuminate, not to cast shadows on others. When you stop judging, you open a door to empathy, to understanding, and to genuine human connection. You also pave the way for your own spiritual development, unshackling yourself from negativity and narrow-mindedness. Your spirit becomes free to explore, to question, and to embrace the vastness of human experience. So, how do you know you're reaching this spiritual milestone? Well, it often happens quietly. One day you might notice that you're listening more and criticizing less. You'll find yourself curious about people's choices rather than dismissive. You might even feel a sense of peace settling over you. You'll find that understanding replaces frustration, compassion replaces anger, and love replaces hatred. Remember, it's easy to stand on a mountaintop and feel spiritually awakened when you're away from the noise and the clutter. But the true test of spiritual maturity is how you carry that sense of peace into the chaos of everyday life. Do you keep that light shining even when you're stuck in traffic, dealing with a difficult coworker, or dealing with family drama? That's when you know you've grown. That's when you realize that spiritual wisdom isn't about floating above the world. It's about walking through it with an open heart. You accept others' free will. Once upon a time, I thought that if I could just get people to see the world as I did, they'd be happier. If they would only open their hearts to spirituality, their lives would become as enriched as mine felt. It was as if I had found a treasure and couldn't understand why others weren't rushing to claim their share. But another milestone appeared on my spiritual path that transformed my way of thinking. The realization that each individual has their own free will, a sacred gift that deserves to be respected. Let's dive into this, because this is not just a sign of growth, it's a declaration of spiritual wisdom. When you start to respect the free will of others, you're not just stepping back, you're actually stepping up into a new realm of understanding. Imagine you found a beautiful flower in a field. Would you pluck it because you want to keep that beauty to yourself, or would you let it remain in the soil, free to grow and bloom? Understanding free will is like choosing to let the flower flourish in its natural environment. People are the same. They blossom best when they're given the space to choose their own path. This is not a passive act, it's an act of empowerment. By respecting others' free will, you're empowering them to find their own truth. You're acknowledging that their journey, though different from yours, is equally valuable. You're also setting yourself free from the burden of feeling responsible for the happiness or enlightenment of those around you. Remember, your life is your message. Live it authentically, passionately, and with great love. If your life resonates with someone, they'll be drawn to explore what fuels your soul. But that choice must come from them. In embracing this understanding, you'll likely find a deeper peace within yourself. It's like you've been carrying a basket full of shoulds. People should do this. People should understand that. And suddenly, you can set that heavy basket down. The sky looks a little clearer, the air feels a little fresher, and your step is a bit lighter. You've made room for a new level of connection with others, one built on mutual respect and genuine love. So how do you know you've reached this point in your spiritual growth? It happens when you start feeling more love and less tension in your interactions. You'll notice that you're not invested in changing people, but in understanding them. The urge to fix things for others will be replaced by a desire to stand beside them as fellow travelers on this incredible journey called life. When they're ready to take the next step, they will. And if they choose a different path, that's not just okay. It's beautiful because it's their journey, their free will. Life is a series of choices. Some lead us forward, some take us around in circles, but all are part of our growth. By respecting the free will of others, you're not only giving them the dignity of their own journey, you're elevating your own. In this life, each of us is both a teacher and a student, sometimes leading, sometimes following, but always moving together in the same grand space. You've learned to let go. In the early chapters of my spiritual journey, I often clung to people, events, and outcomes, as if holding on tight would somehow make things better. I believed that if I could just control the circumstances around me, I could create a perfect life. But a transformative moment came that lifted me to new heights. I learned the art of letting go. When you discover the liberation that comes from letting go, you're not merely loosening your grip on life, you're opening your hands to catch new blessings. Think of your life as a river. When you try to control it, you're essentially building dams and barriers. The flow is interrupted, and soon enough the water becomes stagnant. But the moment you let go, the river runs free, vibrant and full of life, leading you to places you couldn't have imagined. Letting go is also like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. For the longest time, you've been wrapped up in layers of worry, expectations and control. But when you finally break free, you're not vulnerable. You're strong and beautiful, with wings that can carry you wherever your spirit desires. By letting go, you're doing something incredibly powerful. You're trusting. You're trusting that things will work out, that the universe has a plan, and that people have the capacity to make their own choices. You're also trusting yourself, acknowledging that you have the resilience to face whatever comes your way. And guess what? The more you trust, the more you find that life becomes a cooperative journey filled with unexpected joys and lessons. So how do you know you've reached this phase in your spiritual evolution? You'll notice that you're not constantly worrying about what's next or what someone else is doing. Your mind is quieter, allowing space for inspiration and creativity to blossom. Your relationships improve because you're not trying to script them. You're simply enjoying them. Your heart feels lighter, as if you've set down a heavy backpack you didn't even realize you were carrying. Letting go doesn't mean you become indifferent or passive. Quite the opposite. You become an active participant in life, engaged in the present moment. You care deeply, but you also understand that caring doesn't require holding on tightly. Instead, it involves giving yourself and others the freedom to be who they are, to make their own choices, and to learn their own lessons. You value inner peace over external validation. In this digital age, we're so easily captivated by the glitz and glam of social validation. A like here, a follow there, and soon enough, we're spiraling into a vortex where our worth is determined by digital applause. But then comes a defining moment on your spiritual voyage. You discover that the true treasure isn't found in the admiration of others, but in the tranquility of your own soul. Imagine you're parched, and you've been walking for miles in the desert, searching for water. You come across mirages, illusions of ponds and lakes that vanish as you get closer. That's what external validation is like. A tantalizing mirage that promises happiness but evaporates upon closer inspection. But then you find a real, nourishing oasis, your inner peace, and you realize that this is what you've been searching for all along. What is inner peace? It's a sense of calm and balance that stems from knowing who you are and what you stand for. It's being content with your own company, finding joy in solitude, and embracing the wonderful complexity that is you. It's a state where your happiness is not leased from others, but owned by you, and it's infinitely empowering. The beauty of inner peace is that it's both a shield and a light. As a shield, it protects you from the turmoil and chaos of the outside world. When you're grounded in inner peace, external factors lose their power to disturb you. People's opinions, societal pressures, and the ups and downs of life become background noise rather than overpowering you. As a light, your inner peace illuminates your path, guiding you toward choices and relationships that are in harmony with your true self. So, if you find yourself at this profound stage in your spiritual journey, take a moment to breathe it all in, cherish it, celebrate it. Rising above the quicksand of pain and suffering, imagine you're stuck in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. This is what life can feel like when pain and suffering dominate our experiences. We find ourselves sinking, sometimes helplessly, into the emotional and psychological struggle that seems impossible to escape. But here comes the watershed moment in your spiritual evolution. You stop sinking. Not because the quicksand has disappeared, but because you've learned to rise above it. Firstly, it's crucial to acknowledge that life is both pain and pleasure, sorrow and joy. It's the yin and yang, the dual faces of existence. For many, pain becomes this looming shadow, darkening the paths they wish to take. The fear of heartbreak keeps them from loving freely. The dread of failure keeps them from daring greatly. Even the inevitable reality of death freezes them in existential anxiety. This fear-based living is incredibly limiting yet so widespread. Emotional pain, particularly, becomes a suffocating fog, impervious to the usual remedies of pills or injections. When you are spiritually mature, a beautiful paradox occurs. You become more aware of your pain, yet less controlled by it. You acknowledge its presence, like a guest in your home, but you don't let it overrun your space. This doesn't mean you relish suffering or seek it out. It means you stop running away from it. Instead of seeing pain as an enemy to fight, you see it as a teacher to learn from. Standing your ground in the face of pain, you begin to notice something miraculous. It loses its oppressive weight. You start to perceive the transitory nature of all things, including pain. This heightened awareness doesn't necessarily lessen the intensity of what you feel, but it changes your relationship with it. You become like a skilled surfer riding the turbulent waves. Sometimes you'll fall, but you also know how to get back up and keep going. How do you know you've reached this formidable milestone in your spiritual progression? You feel a new sense of courage and resilience. Things that used to terrify you now seem manageable, even if they remain challenging. You find an inner strength that allows you to move forward, even when every fiber of your being screams for you to retreat into your comfort zone. You live with an openness that invites all experiences, not just the pleasurable ones, because you know that each moment holds valuable lessons. I hope you found this to be a valuable learning experience. If you're still watching this, I want to express my gratitude for being a valued member of the Wisdom Nuggets family. It is because of you that I am able to create content like this. I hope that you will continue to join me on this journey as we grow together. I wish you good health and a wonderful day.